house, and at the same time, when I'm in Ogun State, go to Olumo
They won't be
Rock
able to see the in-depth, that we have something to show.
because they don't know, and nobody has really told everybody. It's the
The
Lagos,
Calabar
the
Carnival.
Calabar Carnival.
Yeah.
All this is what needs to be. It's the
The
Lagos,
Calabar
the
Carnival.
Calabar Carnival.
Yeah.
All this is what needs to be in what you call a nationally coordinated tourism package
Okay.
by month, by location, and so people can now pick and choose what they want to do. So that's step one. But before we even get into that, you say, what can the government do?
What can they do?
You have to have established tourism boards in every state. You have to have
I think we have in your state
that
now.
function. That function.
Okay.
So they have to understand the coordinated effort of each state
Okay.
and how that fits into the national picture. We have to have the infrastructural deficit corrected, particularly in areas like that. You know, if a developer comes in, they should have access to low-cost land, whether it's by purchase or by lease. And the paperwork for these lands have to be available, to be certified, so that there's no fraudulent investment and people don't say, don't invest in Nigeria. Beyond that, even after you invest, the government has to create tax incentives and tax breaks for people who want to invest in hospitality, real estate, or any business in Nigeria, as opposed to going to another country. Then when you get into the financing, they have to provide suitable banking regulations on financing loans of repayment that will make it worthy of establishing those businesses as it's done in other countries. And then there has to be, of course, adequate power supply, an adequate water supply to those locations, if it's somewhere as remote as Ibeno Beach.
And good accessible road.
And good accessible roads.
Yeah.
With drainage, because a lot of these
Proper
places are
drainage. Yeah.
hilly mountain regions where it rains a lot.
Yeah.
If you have to get to Mambila Plateau or Budu Ranch, and if it's a beach location like Araromi Beach in Olaje, you can imagine. If there's no good road or the road washes out next year.
Or they should create something that would be kind of
The first time was a bad experience, but the second time was a great experience, except for one thing. Oga, what you bring from you? He heard that about 20 times from landing to
Wow.
departure. So
to
that's one thing within our rival areas, our ports, our airports, that we need to change for the international traveler.
yeah, I think.
But that's what I think the government can do.
Okay, so you have it there for the second questions I've just in Travel Simplified. Let's take a moment.
And that's my home. And goodbye, mama. Please don't cry. Say I can stay. Don't ask me why. I've got no money, just hopes and dreams. I'm gonna find my destiny. I had about life in the city. Said that's where all dreams.
Center, and today we are looking at a topic that affects me, that affects you, and will affect you, and we are looking at how Nigerian tourism can be revived, and we are looking at the key challenges and solutions. And right about before we go on break, he was saying what government can do. Now we've all heard what government can do. So what role government can do? Now we've all heard what government can do. So what role do you think the private sector can play in developing Nigerian tourism industry? Private sector can play in developing Nigerian tourism industry.
Government first, because that's the bedrock and the foundation
Yes.
before you can actually talk about the
Private sector, yeah.
So now let's assume that the government has done its part,
Yeah.
and let's move on to the private
And they've
sector.
involved the town planning
And they've involved the town plan, the building guidelines, so that we don't build
in
in
the
a disorganized fashion.
yes.
So yes, this is critical to this and crucial to this. People are selling fuel. People are selling food. People are selling parts. People are selling. You can imagine how many things.
Conference center taken to promote tourism in Nigeria. And what result have you seen? You would have tried something out. So what result have you seen?
Very good question. The first thing is to be a good ambassador for the state.
Okay.